Purim edition that goes together with the Vayikra edition. So we just didn't say the answer to last week's question. Last week's question of Pekudei, the question was when was Hakamas Mishkan? What day of the week was it? The Gemara in Shabbos, Kezayin days. Its answer, it says that the day of Hakamas Mishkan was the Rishon L'Maisa Bereishis. Rashi explains Rishon L'Maisa Bereishis means happened on the first day of the week. It was commonly known as Sunday. So the answer is Sunday. Okay. So now, so last week also we said that even though it says Minal Kol Yisrael, the Shulchan Aruch says Minal Kol Yisrael to make the Megillah like Igeres. You probably saw by creating the Megillah, they made the Megillah like a folded letter, not like a Sefer Torah, right? The Sholom Aaron said it's a minhag of Kol Yisrael. So we pointed out last week that even though Rashi, it seems to be in Rashi doesn't have this minhag in the Siddur of Rashi. Doesn't have this minhag. It says you do it just like a Sefer Torah. So what's interesting is that look, it's the Sholom Aaron says minhag Kol Yisrael, right? What is the word Yisrael? All of Yisrael. But if you look at the word Yisrael, if you read it backwards, forwards it's Yud Shin Reish Ayin Lamed, right? Backwards, Lamed Aleph Loi Reish Shin Yud Loi Rashi. Minhag Kol Yisrael. It's minhag of all Yisrael, not Rashi though. If you read it backwards, see Yisrael, the letters of Yisrael. If you read it backwards, Loi Rashi. It's all Yisrael except for Rashi. Okay, so Pasuk says, Ish Yehudi Haya B'Shushan Avira, and he was Mordechai. So the Gemara in Megillah Yebez and Beis says, why was he called Yehudi? Amar Nachman Mordechai Muchtar Beni Musai Haya. He was crowned with his Nimos. Rashi explains Nimos means he had nice names. It's shame in Greek is Nimos. So he had very nice names. That's why it's called Ish Yehudi. So Rav Yonatan Eibshitz in Yaris Dvash, he says Hashem gave us the ois of tzitzis and tefillin. Those are meant for an ois, as an ois of bris. And anyone who wears it, it's showing the yichud of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Anyone who wears tzitzis and tefillin. So anyone, when you see someone wearing tzitzis or tefillin, is instantly recognized as a Jew. You could tell he's a Yid from wearing that. That's showing the achdos of Hashem. So by Shushan, and this hour wasn't Shushan, no one would wear it out in the streets. No one would dare wear tzitzis or tefillin out in the streets. Everyone would just do the mitzvahs privately in the house. No one would do it out in the public. But this is not how Mordechai was. He would walk in the street. Everyone would see him. All the goyim would see him. He'd be Mekadei Shem Shemayim Barabim. Mekadei Shem Shemayim Barabim, showing the yichud of Hashem right out in out of all the people in Shushan. He was the only one that did that. So this is the pshat of the Rav Yonatan Eibshitz. He says this is the pshat of Yehudi, Ish Yehudi, and Yehudi means he was Yehudi, and the Medrash Darshan's Yehudi. You could change the hey for a ches and heard it to Yehudi. He was a Yehudi. He was showing the yichud of Hashem. So that's the pshat. But apparently the Ben Ish Chai doesn't really like this pshat so much. In Ben Ish Chai, for the drush of Shabbos Zachar, the Ben Ish Chai writes. He says he brings the pshat of Rav Yonatan Eibshitz that he would wear tefillin and tzitzis, but he says no. You can't really say this pshat so much because tzitzis and tefillin is only in day. That's only the zman of it. But at night, you don't wear it. You're not always having it. So rather, you know what the pshat is? What was Mordechai special about it? They say, Ish Yehudi? Shoya maniach peos avim ugdoilim shenirim meirachak. He had very big payas. Mordechai HaTzadik had very big payas. And then it was always on him day and night. And they're always kavua on his guf. So they could always be seen. Even if he was sitting between 100 different sarim, 100 different generals, you could always see Mordechai sticking out with his big, long pace. That's how he looked. Yeah, he says, that's why we called him Ish Yehudi, yeah. Because of his pace. He was recognized as Ish of Yehudi. And then he goes into this whole he goes a paragraph saying how Ru'u kama chavivin heim ha'peyes. See how chaviv the peyes is. They're edim and simonim of Yahadus. They're showing. And Mordechai Tzaddik, he was sitting with all these sarim that didn't have any payas, but he was sitting there, and everyone could easily be recognized. And he talks about Holom Maisa, Long Maisa, and then he says that at the end he ends off that Al Kain Kama V'Chama Tzvicha Adam Lizor B'Shnei Edim Nemon Elu. These are two Edim, two Edim. They're two Edim each side of the head. They're Edim on that he's a Jew, Ish Yehudi. That's why a person needs to be very careful of these payas. One is on the right, one is on the left. They're crowning a person with the Atara Shel Yahadus. So then he says, though, I'm not saying you need to make really long payas right after you're reading this. I'm not saying you need to start like skipping your barber every week, and you need to leave it to grow very long, like the Achenu Ashkenazim do. Ashkenazim, Hasidish people, like the Ashkenazim do. You don't need to go as far as Ashkenazim. I'm just begging from you that at least I have a shear that's recognizable, that people could see it, not like tiny plants that are sitting on the edge of the ground, popping up out of the ground. Not like that. They should actually, at least there should be rishum on nicker. At least it should be recognizable, because you know why? Because a katan can't give edus, right? So a katan is not like an edus. So also payas that are katan can't give edus. They can't be meish. He's a Jew if they're katan. So it needs to be big enough. So in Orchos Yosher, Rav Chaim writes that end of Simon Hey, the Chazon Ish, they also didn't like it so short, but he says he didn't want it to be so short. He said the Chazon Ish ruled that people should grow the payas long. But in Chutz La'aretz, so there's a heter among the Goyim, since people live among the Goyim in Chutz La'aretz, that you don't need to make it so long, you can make it shorter, so the Goyim shouldn't make fun of the Jews. So you can see the whole thing in the back of the Mesifta Gemara's page 17 of Aliba the Hilchasa, in the back of Meseches Megillah. It has a whole back and forth, and it ends up coming out that it shouldn't be too long, because it either go like to the end of the ear, different shitas, or the most it should be the end of the chin. That's how long the pay should be, and for sure it shouldn't get mixed up with the beard. And so they asked, how could the Ben Ish Chai say that you should make it long? How could he say this? So I think it's Shai's V'Tshuvos Vayoshev Ayan. He says if you push your payas behind your ears, that solves it. It doesn't get mixed up with your beard. You can make it very long as you push it behind your ears, because it's not supposed to get mixed up with your beard. Even if it's very long, you can do that. And I think the Rav Yoel Teitelbaum, I think that every single picture you always see him, his payas going straight down in his face. He says that you only want your people behind you to see your payas. So he didn't like when people put their payas behind their ears. That's why we always let it grow, so everyone could see the payas. The air of the face. Okay. So that was why Mordechai Tzaddik was called Ish Yehudi, according to the Ben Ish Chai. Okay, so how many psukim are there in the Megillah? Oh, okay, first thing.
Okay, so there's just like to mention an interesting part from Sefer Taima Dikra, the Rav Chaim Kanievsky. So everyone knows the Gemara that someone is supposed to drink enough wine ad lo yada ben Baruch Mordechai to Ar Haman.
Yeah.
It's Beretiv Shulchan Aruch. It says it's actually gematria. Ar Mordechai is actually the same gematria of Baruch Mordechai.
Oh yeah.
So you should know the difference between gematria. Okay.
Yeah.
So the Talmud Dikra actually adds, he brings from his father, the discipler, that actually continues in the song Shoshanas Yaakov. It's Baruch Mordechai is the gematria of Ar Haman. Arura Zeresh is the gematria of Esther Livracha.
Oh, really?
And then
Esther Livracha.
Yeah. And then Charvoina is the gematria of Hu Zachar Latov.
Oh, wow, it's older than Matcha.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's very cool. Yeah. Okay, very nice, very nice. So, yeah, you heard the Balkari reading V'ishla Elmad Lifnehem. It's a shaila. Is there, in the word Lifnehem, is it with Bifnehem or Lifnehem in the Megillah? So, I think they read it like V'ishla Elmad Lifnehem, V'ishla Elmad Bifnehem. He just reads it twice. Also, Lashmid La'arog Ul'abed. Is there a vav? Is it Vila'arog? So he reads it Lashmid La'arog Ul'abed, Lashmid Vila'arog Ul'abed. He reads it both ways. But what about the psukim? How many psukim are there in the Megillah? How many psukim are there in the Megillah? So, okay, very simple. Look at the back of a chumash. Every sefer in Tanakh, every parsha always says in the back how many psukim there are. So I'm not sure if it's such a good idea because I think many chumashim are not exactly how we have it. Because if you look at the back of the chumash, it says there are 166 psukim. Yeah, 166 psukim in the Megillah. Even the Sabinita chumash, in case you're wondering, has 166. Almost every chumash has 166. But then if you count, one by one, you'll find 167. How many psukim are there in the Megillah? So, the Rakeach, you can't say, okay, it's a mistake, because the Chumash made a mistake, okay. No, the Rakeach, Hilchos Purim, he says, like, the parshas of Zachar, Eis Asher, Asalcha, Amalek, and Vayovay Amalek, all the words in all those parshas, if you add together, you get 166, which is connected the amount of psukim in the Megillah, which is 166. He finds a remez in the amount of psukim, 166. So, how can it be that if you count, it's really 167? So, really, in Rav Nissim Dayan, he writes this sefer, Anim Zmiros, Maimer Ches, he discusses how many psukim exactly are, and he brings us to a Keach that says they're 166, but really, like, if you count, there's 167. So we need to say, the answer is that in those days they had a different pisuk of the psukim. They had a different division of all the psukim in the Gila actually. They had a different division, and one of the psukim that you had before was really 2 psukim that we have now. It was really different. And since Rakeach says that Chumashin after that ended up doing it, and even though nowadays it changed, and now we actually have 167 psukim, because I don't know where it was, but we divided it, but he still kept it in all Chumash 166. But if you see in the art scroll, as we proved before, is by the Unkelos of 3 nuns, it's usually pretty meduyak, and yes, you can see in the art scroll it actually says 167, which is the truth of nowadays, how it is. So, actually how it is, okay. So, okay, so, now.
1 second, it's another chat.
Oh, another chat, okay.
So, Chaim also says, another interesting chat, Shashas Yaakov Sol v'Samecha, B'roisam Yachad Techilas Mordechai. So, Techilas says, it seems that Techilas is hinting to the tzitzis, and Mordechai was wearing tzitzis and the rest of the begadim of Achashverosh.
I think the Bir HaGros says that it's tzitzis, yeah.
Oh. So, I'm not sure. He says that here it is. So, it says because they're able to wear, and when Yisrael saw him when he was riding on the horse in those begadim, they didn't recognize him until they saw the tzitzis.
Oh, really? Oh, interesting. That's a tchias of Mordechai. Oh.
Yeah.
Wow. Nice shot. Okay. So, running out of time, I want to say one more shot from the Maril before we get to the question of the week. So the Maril says, L'kutei Maril, I think it's a Parshas Tetzaveh. It says, there's Yushalmi that says, Yushalmi and Titus, Im kol mayadim yu b'telim, Chanukah Purim loy niftolim. The Chanukah Purim will never be mevatel. We know that even in Mashiach will always have Chanukah Purim. Yeah. So he says the reason that Purim,
not unlike Pesach.
unlike Pesach, yeah.
It's just a Gemara Bracha. It says like it's martial to like someone who likes to like a lion, and then like he kept telling everyone that he survived it.
Oh,
and then, like,
also love it. It's easy time won't be such a big thing anymore.
Yeah. And then it's like a snake, and then a snake, then a wolf.
Oh yeah. Okay, so what is exactly the Indian of Purim that makes it that it will never stop, even also love it? So the Likutei Maharil says that the reason is all the Mayadim have a Zman Kavua. Pesach. When's Pesach? Tesvav Nisan. Every year, Tesvav Nisan is Pesach. When's Sukkot? Every year, Tesvav Tishrei. Every Yom Tif and all the Yom Tovim have a very specific date. But by Purim, there's no Kviyas of Zman. Because not only is in the Ari Prozim, so we have Yod Daled, and the other half of the world has Tesvav. Not only that, the Mishnah says, the first Mishnah of Megillah says there's Yud Aleph, Yud Beis, Yud Gimel, Yud Daled, and Tesvav. There's 5 different dates for this Yom Tov. Purim is Ki Purim hu lemala min hazman, he says. Purim is above the Zman. That's how high level of Purim. It's even above the Zman. So there's no Zman for it just always is. Different days, it could always be a different day, depending on the year. And it will always be like that. So I thought it's interesting how we see at the end of the Megillah, Parak Tes Pasuk Chav Zayin, we see it says Kimu v'kibla Yehudim aleim, they're makabel on them the Purim v'lo yavar, there's oisim es shnei hayom ha'ela kichsavam v'chizmanom b'chol shona v'shona. It says it will never pass, so it will never pass even by Mashiach, right? It says right, they never pass to do these 2 days. So it's like pointing out these 2 days. It's not one specific day every single year. It's also showing how it's like the Malam and Asman doesn't have a specific date for it. It will never pass these 2 days. It's 2 days. It could be 1 day in each place. It's great. Okay. Okay. I think that's enough for now. So now we have 3 questions this week. Question number 1 is, what's question number 1?
So what time in the Megillah do we find a word that has Aleph, Beis, and Gimel in row?
Those 3 letters, Aleph, Beis, Gimel, in one word appear in a row. Okay, well, good question. Okay, question number 2, where actually is the Ramah Mistapek? There's actually a suffix that Noshim might actually be counted in the minyan for this thing. Okay? It's in Hilchos Purim. Where is the Ramah actually Mistapek? Noshim can be counted in the minyan, even though usually we need a minyan of 10 adult men. And the 3rd question is, so which thing do we say in davening? Not only do we say it once a week, we say it once a week, and when else do we say it? We say it also on the happiest day of the year, on Purim, and on the saddest day of the year, on Tisha B'Av. We only say this thing, I think we only say it on once a week, and on Purim and Tisha B'Av. Okay, so when is Aleph, Beis, Gimel in row? The Ramah Mistapek of Noshim Arkanat Minyan, and what thing do we say in davening on Purim, Tisha B'Av, once a week? Okay, thank you for listening to the Purim edition of Torah Talk. Freilich and Purim.
Okay.